Good evening from San Diego. It's San Diego Wave FC hosting Orlando Pride in the very first meeting between these two sides. Matt Peterson with Gary Bailey. San Diego suffered its first home loss of the regular season last week against Kansas City Current. Orlando, a wild comeback against Angel City FC as we see the home lineup for San Diego Wave and the first-year head coach, Casey Stoney. She's made two changes to the team, which lost at home. Katie Johnson and Amira Ali enter the team for Jakobsen and Breedy.
Yeah, Amira Ali, one of in fact, the only goal scorer, so she gets a chance to show what she can do. And Katie Johnson as well, got some lovely skills on that left-hand side. The rest of the side, I mean, Alex Morgan up front, we all know what an incredible player she is. If she gets service, and that was one of the issues in the last match, she never got enough service. If you give her the service, she'll score.
Here's the lineup for Seb Hines, the acting head coach in Orlando, and he's made two changes to his team. Julie Doyle has displaced Darian Jenkins, and Megan Montefusco is back into the team. Carrie Lawrence out in concussion protocol.
Yeah, same situation, 4-3-3, so their lineup equally in that sense. Julie Doyle, 2 goals in the last 2 games, so she's the informed player in that Orlando side, and it should be an exciting game.
Orlando in whites, San Diego in blue. Adere Monroy is the referee, and here we go from Torero Stadium, and look at Orlando off the kickoff. Erica Timrak pushing forward, and it's a bright start for Orlando away from home. And Gary Bailey, what are you watching for early on in this one?
Well, there's so many players to watch out for. We've mentioned Alex Morgan. What does surprise me, Dalkamp has been kept on the bench. He's back after suspension, so I wonder if San Diego will be strong in the 2 centre-back positions.
Turnbow's crossing. Ali, nearly her second in as many games, but it's turned away by Erin McLeod. Inside 30 seconds, it fell beautifully for Amira Ali. She scored her first regular season goal last week to pull San Diego within a goal. And here in her second start of the season, she nearly gave San Diego a dream start.
Well, barely had a chance to say hello and settle down, and it was nearly a goal. Absolutely brilliant there from the home side on the front foot, causing Orlando Pride all sorts of problems. And, you know, for Amira Ali, it's a chance for the 23-year-old to stake her claim. And even if you don't score, the fact you're in the right place at the right time and you force Erin McLeod into a decent save, that's going to catch the manager's eye.
Here comes San Diego again. It's Morgan. Ali, a central run. Alex Morgan for Ali. Well defended. And the pressure leads to a San Diego throw-in. San Diego, a very slow start last week at home against Kansas City. Fell behind 2-0. Only 7 shots in the game, and very strong comments post-game to media from Casey Stoney. As you mentioned, not enough service to Alex Morgan, but this is what they want.
This is the ball, and this is a lovely cross, by the way, because the keeper can't comfort, comes off the shoulder of the defender, and Erin McLeod just makes herself as big as possible there, gets it with her left foot. You fancy that Amira Ali was going to score, but the goalkeeper to the rescue.
Off the back of Kylie Strom, here comes Timrak. And it was a double change at halftime as Amira Ali slips into the back. She's crossing. Desperate here for Orlando inside 2 minutes. Turnbow nearly got on the end of it. But Casey Stoney holds Jakobsen at halftime. And Taylor Korniak made 2 changes down 2-0. So a message sent, and Jakobsen remains on the bench tonight. It's a chance for Katie Johnson, who was part of the build-up with Amira Ali's goal last weekend.
And that's what it's all about. It's about fighting for places, proving to the coach that you're good enough and you're going to work hard enough to be in that starting lineup. It applies to Orlando Pride as well with Seb Hines, but they seem to be on a good run at the moment. The Pride unbeaten in the last 5. San Diego have got the same number of points over 5 matches, but it's ups and downs. It's wins followed by losses. So I think Casey Stoney just trying to get some consistency from her side.
Good pressure against Westfall, who started every game this season. That was Carriabello pushing forward. Now it's Abello pulling it back. Good delivery is headed clear. Free kick given. Turnbow on the edge of the box committed the foul. Adere Monroy had a good view of it as Turnbow appeals that it was shoulder to shoulder.
That's in a good position, edge of the box, a chance to perhaps get a shot on target. Have a look here as they come in and tackle. There's a bit of a nudge in the back. You've got to be playing the ball there, and there's no question that's a foul. You can see Kelsey Turnbull coming right into her back there. That's a dangerous position. It gives you the option of shooting left or right. You can either go over the wall, you can aim at the goalkeeper, you can maybe even chip it in for a header.
Kaylin Sheridan organizing her 5-person wall. Maggie Doherty-Howard, Tony Presley are the options here. Tony Presley's got a thundering right foot. It will be Doherty-Howard, and it looked like Sheridan had it covered. Well taken over the wall for Maggie Doherty-Howard.
Well, she certainly had the goalkeeper scrambling there. It looked like it was actually going to tuck in that far corner. She gets it over the wall. Just too much bend on it, but Kaylin Sheridan had to stretch to make 100% sure. You can just see it just bends away at the end. Well, that's the danger in giving a free kick away right on the edge of the box.
This is the middle game of 3 straight home games for San Diego Wave FC. They'll open Snapdragon Stadium in September against rival Angel City. But an important one, a disappointing home defeat as it's flicked on by Morgan. Morgan is in. It's off the post from Morgan. Nearly number 50 for Alex Morgan after the flick from Korniak.
That's a great strike from Alex Morgan. As we were saying, you give her service, she will score. Whistle's already gone. One of the most talented footballers I have ever seen, Alex Morgan. Her ability to score goals from almost any situation is legendary. Great flick on from Korniak. She gets in front of the defender here, Alex Morgan. But look at the volley, power, and it's just unlucky that it hits against the post, but she just settles herself, absolutely thumps that, gives Erin McLeod no chance whatsoever, and only the post saving Orlando Pride.
Alex Morgan, one of 4 in the team for San Diego that played for Orlando previously, some available off the bench. Morgan, of course, 6 seasons, 23 goals with Orlando. Really the face of that franchise alongside Marta for a half dozen years.
And in fact, it was a combination. Korniak was ex-Pride as well, so Korniak flicked on. 2 Pride players combining to nearly score the opening goal.
Well, Gary, the energy is night and day. From last Sunday, a midday kickoff at home against Kansas City, to tonight, it looks like a completely different team for San Diego.
Yeah, they're on the front foot, and this I think is what Casey Stoney is trying to get is a consistency where this team comes out and is positive every game. They really struggled in the last match, but to be fair, a lot of people have struggled, a lot of players I should say have struggled against Kansas City, including tonight, beating North Carolina Courage 4-3. You were on that match earlier. I mean, this Kansas City side are not easy to play against, and I think that's what San Diego found out in the last match.
It was a stunner, a 4-3 comeback. There's been 2 7-goal games in the NWSL this year, both hosted by North Carolina, both defeats. They lost by the same score to Houston in June. They had 3 leads tonight, 3 tying goals, and the winner from Claire Lavauger, as you see, one of the favorite positions for Casey Stoney on top of the water cooler.
But in that match against Kansas City, San Diego, their expected goal was .33 for Kansas City, 1.6. So they were played off the park. In fairness, it wasn't like it was an unlucky loss, and Casey Stoney admitting as much.
Premier League player and Houston Dynamo player Giles Barnes there on the Orlando Pride bench, perhaps assisting Seb Hines just a bit. A good chat with Seb Hines today about his team. And a lot of it comes down to, in my opinion, this midfield 3 he settled upon. Maggie Doherty-Howard, Jordan Listro, Viviana Villacorta. Some of those were injured early in the season, especially Villacorta and Doherty-Howard, but it's the 6th straight game with those 3. Now Ali from distance, right at Erin McLeod.
Yeah, right about the 3 of them. And the one he picked out as the unsung hero was Jordan Listro, because she just sits and allows Maggie to go forward, Maggie Doherty-Howard to go forward and create, and for Viviana Villacorta, those are the 2 more creative players, but it's Jordan Listro does the hard work to feed them the ball. So that combination in midfield doing very well, but they haven't scored a goal amongst the 3 of them. Maybe that's the one area they can improve.
Bombing run there from Kylie Straub. Orlando looking for its first good chance. There's Kristen Westphal. Westphal, 15th consecutive start tonight. At the right back position for Casey Stoney. It's good work through traffic from McNabb. Now it's Alex Morgan. Let it run beautifully. Has two to her right. Alex Morgan just past the near upper corner. Had Ali and Johnson, but she went her own way from outside the box.
She wasn't far away again, but she did have Katie Johnson just inside her. That was a good option, perhaps. But Alex Morgan, it's not like she misses by much when she does miss. Korniak again, those two ex-Pride players combining for San Diego Wave. To be fair, she's edge of the box and she's decided she fancies her chances and has had a dip. Gets pace, flies by, and poor Erin McLeod is having to scamper around in these first 10 minutes of this game.
Away from Presley. Germa. Wide for Westfall. Van Egmond has played every minute this season for San Diego. Another ex-Orlando player, played with the Pride 2018 to 20, another stint in 21. Amira Ali at the end line, waits for support. She's crossing and it's cleared by Presley. Westfall back into the penalty area. Presley nods away. Timrak. Dory Howard caught in possession by Korniak.
Not letting them breathe, are they, at the moment, San Diego? Huge press and they're getting turnover ball. Look at this pressure, forcing that poor clearance. Very impressive first 10 minutes from the home side.
Well, that speech resonated from Casey Stoney. She was very honest with media post-game after the loss to Kansas City last weekend.
I think the players were as well. I heard Alex Morgan saying it's important for us to bounce back from the last game. It was not a good showing from us. And we know we have it in us. Well, they certainly are showing it. She did say as well they love playing at home, so I think they get a buzz from this crowd.
Well, they had the best start at home in league history. 6 unbeaten to start, 3 wins and 3 draws before the loss to Kansas City last weekend. Now trying to get back in the win column. Like, important homestand, 3 straight at home. Houston Dash come to town next weekend.
And this is the first time these teams meet, by the way. This is the last team that San Diego haven't faced. If that's the right terminology. In other words, they've played everybody else. They haven't played Orlando Pride until now. So these teams don't have, other than ex-players being on the San Diego side, ex-Pride players, they don't have any other familiarity from having met, for example, earlier in the season.
And to your point about the lack of XG, it's one of the better scoring teams in the league. Amongst the leaders, goals, expected goals, and shots. That's why the 7-shot display last week was so surprising. They had Jaden Shaw score within 28 minutes of her pro debut in the 1-0 away win against Chicago. That was the penalty save from Caitlin Sheridan against Mallory Pugh. But then Shaw is now with the US U20. She started in the opening game of the group stage, a 3-0 US win.
It's a pity she's not available, because when she came on and scored that goal, she had a chance to tap it in easily, and instead she took a touch and sort of had a bit of a dribble and then scored. And I was like, wow, this is a confident player and a super skillful player. So I think we'll hear a lot more about Jaden Shaw in the years to come.
Shaw and the U.S. beat Ghana on Thursday. They'll play the Netherlands and Japan to round out the group stage at the U20 World Cup.
And she's just 17. There's only Olivia Moultrie at 16, I think, who's younger, and I think she's also with her on that U20 trip. I mean, it's 16 and 17 to be playing in the NWSL. That's 2 wonderful talents that we might see for the US for many years to come.
There's Timrak. And there's Sheridan. We talked to a lot of ex-goalkeepers. Talked to a lot of coaches. Some consider Sharon the best goalkeeper in the women's game across the world right now.
Well, certainly Louis Hunt, the goalkeeper coach at San Diego, does. We got to chat to him during the week, and he says she has an unbelievable mindset. She's so driven, best he's ever seen in terms of commitment and intensity. But I think goalkeepers are like that in general. It's just a horrible position that you have to just keep working so hard to try and be the best you can be, because you can go from hero to zero so quickly in that position.
Nice little layoff from Ali, intended for Turnbow. Orlando doing enough desperate defending on the edge of the box here in the early stages. Ali has been energetic. We've talked to Louis Hunt about Ali coming off the bench, still adjusting to the pro game. They like her typically off the bench against a tired defense, bringing the energy, but I think after last week's disappointing performance, they needed the energy from the kickoff tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And at the end of the day, Casey Stoney is basically looking at her and saying, you know, are you good enough to start? And are you good enough to keep other players out of the side? Because I need to pick my most sort of attacking-minded side. Sophia Jakobsen is the option, but at 32, is not as quick and as young, perhaps, as Ali.
That connection again, Korniak for Morgan. Morgan could not settle. 11 goals in 12 appearances here in 2022.
Well, that's phenomenal, and it's 11 plus 1 assist. You could say 12 impacts on the game in 12 games. I mean, at that level, it's world class, and it's not like she's just suddenly doing it. I mean, 69 goals and 120 appearances for the USA. She's just a phenomenal player, Alex Morgan.
Diagonal ball too heavy for Johnson. We've seen Johnson in an advanced wing role with San Diego, more of a central role tonight. There's Casey Stoney. Everyone you talk to about Casey Stoney, great defensive mind. Defensive organization is everything for her. And when we speak with Louis Hunt about the offensive side, he goes back to the defense. It starts with organization and communication on defense, which will lead to the chances going the other way.
I think the bottom line is when you've got Alex Morgan there and you've got someone like Korniak to win high balls from crosses, you have to, if you defend well, they will pop up with a goal somewhere, very likely to pop up anyway. As long as you get some service to them. That's the quality you've got up front with Alex being there, Alex Morgan. And then now Katie Johnson as well, also very talented in attack. So it does make sense what they say. When you see Casey Stoney, I think you see someone who's pretty tough as well. I think she's the sort of coach who, we've had the odd chat with her, she's driven and she wants her team to be the best. And I think playing for her could be quite tough at times.
First year with the expansion side. Last 4 years with Manchester United women. 130 caps for England. And at the club level with Liverpool, Arsenal, and Chelsea. There's Girma. She's one of the anchors. You have Alex Morgan, one of the first signings. In some ways the face of the franchise, but Naomi Girma out of Stanford. #1 overall pick. You can go a lot of different ways with that pick, Gary. They went to the center back position.
Yeah, and she's now become a regular, or fairly regular, with the USA and been very, very impressive, Naomi Girma. Got Kaylee Reel playing next to her today. I'm not sure, for me, Dalkamp is a more experienced player, but maybe they want to bring Kaylee Reel in on a more regular basis. And Dalkamp is not that old, though, so at 28, I would have thought she was the more regular choice at centre back.
It's lost in midfield, picked up by Turnbow inside for Morgan. Before that, you could see the technical ability of Viviana Villacorta. One of the midfield 3 injured early this season. Tonight's her 6th straight start. Villacorta, Listro, and Doherty Howard. Seb Hines said he's enjoyed this spell as the acting head coach. More on that in a moment as Orlando breaks the other way. It's Korniak tracking back. He said it's always been his ambition and goal to be a head coach. He's given this chance, and he says you do the best with the games you have, and he's kept it simple for his group and brought out the strengths of this Orlando Pride side. Here's Amira Ali. Morgan to her right. Ali for San Diego. Morgan trying to turn. 6 white shirts there to deny San Diego.
That's been a fantastic run for Seb Hines since he took over. Orlando now unbeaten in the last 5 rather. 4 draws, which is the only thing that maybe frustrates him. He'd like to turn more of those draws into wins, but early on in the season they were taking a couple of 5-0 and 6-0 hammerings, and he said it was after the 6-0 defeat to Portland Thorns that they sat down. It was, I think, just before he took over. They sat down as a team and decided there's just no way they could allow that to happen again. And since then, they've been very well organized, hard-working. He's got them focused on defense as well, has Seb Hines. Don't score a lot of goals, Orlando Pride, but they're very hard to break down.
Good point, Gary. Since then, 2-2 at home to Racing Louisville. A 1-0 home win against Houston. Scoreless away at Washington. 2-2 away at Kansas City. And then Angel City at home. 2-2 last weekend. There's a bending ball. Beautiful curling ball for Alex Morgan. She has Johnson central. Tried the no-look pass to Westfall. That's good defending from Orlando.
Just to give you a sense of scoring, 11 goals from Alex Morgan. You mentioned that. In the entire Orlando Pride team, the 4 defenders have scored 3 goals. The midfield 3 haven't scored. And up front, the only goal scorer is Julie Doyle with 2. So there's currently only 5 goals amongst the entire Orlando Pride 11 that are out today. 5 goals. Alex Morgan has more than double that on her own. So you can see which team is defensively minded and which team is able to attack in numbers. And certainly San Diego, you could say wave after wave of attack if you want it, using their name, because that's exactly how they play.
And for San Diego, one concern could be if it's not coming from Alex Morgan, as we see Casey Stoney, who is going to score? Nobody with more than 2 goals after Alex. Kenzie Doniak has 2, Korniak with 2. Ali got her first of the season last weekend.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, when they lost her during the recent internationals, they really struggled, San Diego, without Alex Morgan. But to be fair, she was scoring every game, so you're going to miss anyone like that.
Good first touch. It's pulled back on the edge of the box. Excellent from Orlando. Look at this skill. But Sheridan in good position.
Comfortable save in the end for Caitlin Sheridan. Straight at her. Had to be a better shot than that, but at least something for Orlando Pride going forward. A little bit of skill and dribble, and eventually the shot coming from Kerry Abello.
It's coming for her. We had a good chat with Seb Hines, and he had a good response to me. I asked about Kerry Abello, no goals or assists, but has been a regular starter as of late, and he quickly came back with no assist on the own goal that brought them back. And I said, no, the question's not related to her lack of production, but I'm asking what is she doing that's making her a regular despite not the production? And I think it's moments like we just saw, the effort, the bravery, and the confidence to create a chance.
Yeah, and he was referring to the last match against Angel City. In the dying moments, 91st minute, Abella put in a cross from the left-hand side. She put it in with pace and power. Paige Nielsen ended up scoring an own goal. So he was sort of saying and suggesting that should have been an assist for her. But that's what she does. She works very hard, Kerry Abello. And Seb Hines appreciates the hard work because, again, that's what he's built his side on. But you need goal scorers and regular goal scorers, and he hasn't quite found that one yet.
Well-weighted ball into the path of Doyle. She centers it. Is there a handball? There is a penalty to Orlando. It hit the hand of Real on the low cross from Doyle. And here, against the run of play, Orlando Pride have a penalty in the first half in San Diego.
That's amazing, isn't it, Orlando Pride? They don't have goal scorers like Alex Morgan, and yet their pressure gets penalties, it gets own goals, and that's what Seb Hines is working on. Let's have a look here. Hand up. Yeah, the hand is out, to be fair. Left hand is well out. Julie Doyle whips it across, and in my book, that is a penalty, I'm afraid.
Well, now can it be a 4th successive game with the penalty saves for San Diego Wave? Sheridan stopped the last 2. It was against Malpew in Chicago 2 weeks ago. Last weekend against Lola Bonta of Kansas City. And the week before that, she was with Canada, and it was the backup goalkeeper,
Carly Telford,
who made the save against Savannah DeMello at this
Can you
very
believe
stadium.
That? 3 penalties in 3 matches, all saved by the keeper, and here's the 4th. I mean, that's an amazing run of penalties and penalty saves.
It's Maggie Doherty Howard going to the spot against Kaylin Sheridan.
Referee just making sure there's no encroachment.
And it's 1-0 to Orlando Pride. They finally beat Kaylin Sheridan. And Orlando weathered the storm in the early stages, and now they have a lead inside a half hour.
Well, that's amazing because they really have been on the back foot. Seb Hines, yep, he's no wonder he's applauding. It's a good finish under a lot of pressure because Maggie would have known exactly how many saves Kaylin Sheridan has made from penalties. She tucks it in the corner, doesn't give the keeper much of a chance. But Julie Doyle, 2 goals last 2 matches. She wins the penalty. Didn't mean to, of course, but just that pressure. Goalkeeper, I think, stood up, was waiting. Let's have a look. I don't think she guesses. She waits and waits. She tries to read it, and it's in the corner. And to be fair, it's a little bit against the run of play. San Diego Wave have had some great chances, Amir Ali in particular. But they'll take it.
First of 2022 for Maggie Doherty-Howard, her 2nd career regular season goal. Again, she had that hip injury early in the season, but has come back to full health. Villacorta was also injured. And somewhat stunning, and it feels a little bit like last week, although Kansas City was in much better form when they took the lead. But now San Diego, they've been very good this year with the lead, or playing and scoring. Now we'll see how they can do coming from behind.
I think the difference with the last match against Kansas City is they were outplayed on that day. They really struggled. Or to be fair, Kansas City were absolutely amazing. I think that's more the focus. In this match, they've started well, San Diego Wave, so I don't think Casey Stoney will be overly worried as long as they keep on the front foot and they keep creating chances.
Only 2 shots in the match before that penalty for Maggie Doherty-Howard. You think back 30 seconds in, Amira Ali had the chance, roll to her, well saved by Erin McLeod. It could have been 1-0 to San Diego in the first minute.
I just wonder with Kaylee Reel there with her hands out, as soon as someone crosses the ball in the box, most defenders try and put their hands behind their back.
There's a flicked header, nearly a second for Orlando. Something out of nothing there. Well-timed flick into the path of Doyle.
It's amazing, they don't look dangerous, and all of a sudden they create a couple of chances, Orlando Pride.
Ali pressuring. Free kick given. That's Listro called for the foul. Signed in May last season with Kansas City Current. She played at University of South Florida. Van Egmond. Westfall. Alex Morgan peeks over the shoulder.
Good pressure. Alex Morgan, she was doing doggies there. She went left and right, but eventually the pressure tells and they get the ball back. There's enough blue shirts here to create some problems.
Does she need a teammate coming with her? If she's leading the press there, does she need a supporting defender?
Yes, and she did eventually. She had to do a lot of work herself, and then eventually somebody else came along, and that's when they got the throw. And now they have a corner. It all started with Alex Morgan, and that's what makes her such a special player for me. Incredible goal scorer, but she puts in the hard graft as well.
Ali has been active in her 2nd start of the season. Her first regular season goal last week against Kansas City, nearly scored her 2nd in as many games in the first minute, but Erin McLeod stood tall. They'll crowd McLeod on this corner kick.
Got Taylor Korniak as well, who's a real threat from any set piece.
Also Turnbow from Nashville, played at Santa Clara. She delivers this corner. McLeod is just enough. We've heard from many coaches this year, Gary, that San Diego are the most physical team in the league. They bring the physicality. You have to be able to respond. And now Orlando has a chance on a 4v3 situation after this corner kick. Good step from Westfall in front of Timrak. Morgan from an offside position. Alex Morgan, 11 in 12 games this season.
Those are unbelievable stats. I mean, along with Sophia Smith, Mel Pugh, those sort of players are just top class, best in world. I mean, they're scoring virtually a goal a game.
Doherty-Howard. Good step from McNabb into the channel. Now it's Sheridan. Kaylee Reel.
Respect that comment I was making about Kaylee Reel for the penalty. Generally, centre backs, when someone crosses the ball inside the box, they put their hands behind their back. Her arms were out wide, so I'm not saying she's at fault for it, but you got to be careful and not allow your hands to be hit.
Ali has been excellent. She draws another free kick. Felia, the Spanish right back, first year with Orlando. A few years before that with OL Reign.
A little bit handsy there. Felia, just little tiny tugs and pulls and eventually gets blown up for it. She had a good header goal a couple of games ago, Felia. And, when she comes into attack, she can be dangerous. That was in the 2-2 draw at Kansas City.
Here comes the restart for San Diego Wave FC. Van Egmond runs over it. It's delivered from the left, knocked down and cleared by Doherty Howard. Houston Westfall. Naomi Girma. Fusco covered well next to Presley. Kept in play. Orlando will try and build out of the back here. Throw into Orlando Pride. Amira Ali has been excellent in the first half hour. Maggie Doherty Howard, 23rd minute goal, the difference in this one. Penalty after Billy Doyle's cross was handled by Kaylee Reel. Here's Doyle. Excellent there between two. Timrak back for Doyle. Doyle pushing forward. Westfall in retreat.
I think of Julie Doyle's impact on previous games. She scored in the last two. She wins the penalty in this match. It's been absolutely impressive in terms of how she's helped Orlando Pride pick up points in recent games.
It's a good build up from Orlando. That was a Bello on the edge of the box waiting for support. Maggie Doherty Howard, as Seb Hines told us, is kind of in this number 10 role. She's played deeper in previous seasons, but given the number 10 responsibility in front of Listro and Villacorta.
That's that job that Listro is able to do, is to allow the other midfielders next to her, Villacorta and Doherty Howard, to go forward and push up and be creative, because they know that standing behind them, Jordan Listro is going to pick up all the counter attacks and block the moves of the opposition. A lot of that work goes unnoticed, but it's a crucial job to do, the defensive side of midfield.
Adere Monroy marking off the 10 meters.
10 yards for the international viewers. It's still in yards, even though you're trying to be metric for the rest of the world.
They tried to be fun. We're having a laugh.
What's the temperature?
Celsius or Fahrenheit. Looks like a long 10 yards, to be fair. Here's the restart from Doherty Howard. And it clear. Here's Turnbow. Good cover that time behind Presley. Doherty Howard, a little nutmeg pass into the feet of Doyle. Doyle, good strength against Reel. Back for Doherty Howard.
They've worked their way back into the match well, Orlando Pride. First 10 minutes, it was just one-way traffic with San Diego. Alex Morgan had little chances, and Amira Ali had a fantastic chance as well. I mean, Morgan's strike, her volley that hit the post, if that goes in, perhaps it's a totally different game. But slowly Orlando Pride, as they have done in all these games under Seb Hines, these last 4 or 5 games since he's been in charge, they're just grinding out results. Not always wins, but always a result.
They're finding a lot of freedom up this left side, Gary. Time and again, it's been Strom pushing forward, Doyle sliding out. It's been 5 or 10 minutes up this left side, and this is where the penalty came from.
If they can get a win here, they'll be joint 7th with Angel City, just one spot outside the playoffs. So 3 points would be absolutely crucial for Orlando Pride. For San Diego, of course, they're sitting in, what is it now, 3rd position. A win would take them level with Portland Thorns at the very top, but a loss wouldn't really damage their playoff hopes as yet. But if they keep dropping points, then they might get caught up in a real battle. I just fancy that the form they have shown in Korniak and Morgan, that the San Diego side, surely they're a lock-in for a place in the playoffs.
Long touch via Quartet, falls to Turnbow. Here comes McNabb on the overlap. Kristen McNabb for San Diego. Excellent defending out there. Free kick one.
The crowd are not happy. So I love that. They really get behind their team there at Torero Stadium.
That's Jordan Listro, a defensive midfielder, sliding out against an overlapping outside back. Excellent cover there from Listro. Oftentimes these unbeaten streaks come down to availability, and Seb Hines has had the benefit of starting the same midfield three 6 consecutive games. Timrak from distance does not trouble Kaylin Sheridan, but how important is that, Gary, for a team just to have the health and availability of players and the benefit of starting the same trio 6 consecutive games?
Especially in midfield, it's important because they understand each other and their roles and how they help. But you need it in defense as well, and Megan Montefusco out last match, is back from suspension. So you have to get used to playing alongside different players at various times in the season. But it's been a very well-drilled Orlando Pride side. I think you have to give a lot of credit to Seb Hines, because since he took over as interim coach, that's when their good run has started.
Ali earns another free kick. She has had a physical first half, a painful first half, trying free kick after free kick.
Yeah, she gets her body in front there and just gets tripped up from behind. I don't think there was any real sort of aggression there from Kerry Abello. Just got her body in the wrong spot, and she's getting a little lecture from the referee to say, hey, keep it clean, keep it tidy.
Bello played at Penn State. She's from Illinois. Was drafted in 2021, like many in the NWSL, returned for her last college season. Played last year at Penn State and then signed with Orlando in January.
And in fact, her first full 90 minutes was in the last match against Angel City. Other than that, she had 69 minutes against Kansas City, 72 with Washington, and a couple of roles as a substitute. So it seems that she's working her way as a regular for Seb Hines.
There's the goal scorer, Maggie Doherty-Howard, her first of this season, her second career regular season goal. A penalty beats Sheridan, and a lot to think about for Casey Stoney. It's a critical homestand after the Dash game next weekend. It's 5 games remaining, 3 of the 5 away from home. And they took care of business largely away from home, but now points dropped against Kansas City and a 1-0 deficit as Ali receives treatment on the sideline.
It'd be a loss if she can't come back on. But just looking at those upcoming games for San Diego, Houston at home. Well, the Houston Dash are in great form at the moment. Portland away. Good luck with that. They're top of the table. Washington away. And then Angel City, which is a local derby. So yeah, they're all tough. That's the thing about the NWSL this season and most seasons, but this season in particular. Even the teams at the bottom, North Carolina Courage at bottom of the table, they're the Challenge Cup winners. Washington Spirit are the reigning champions. They're sitting second or third bottom, so it's very tough. And you can, if you had a bad spell, you can drop down the table extremely quickly. And that's the big concern for San Diego fans.
Van Egmond short. Naomi Gurma. Van Egmond back for Gurma. Westfall and North Carolina. Sean Nahas must be extremely frustrated. They scored 3 goals today for the 3rd straight game. They have not won any of the 3. Back-to-back 3-3 draws. They lose tonight 4-3, and they had 3 leads in that game. And Claire Lavoisier, a stunning game winner to make it 4-3 for Kansas City, now unbeaten in 10.
They are the form side. Kansas City are the side. They, along with Portland, are the side that I think most teams are concerned about, because you worry about form coming into playoffs. And I mean, they're a very good outfit with some top-class players, Kansas City.
Beautiful entry ball to Alex Morgan. Back for McNabb. It's Morgan on her left foot, pulling it back. Good support. McNabb over the bar. Good work, McNabb and Morgan, but in the end, they don't trouble Erin McLeod.
McNabb's got to hit target there. You've got to keep the ball down and make Erin McLeod work. Done so well there, Alex Morgan. A little bit of trickiness in the box, and yes, she sort of stumbled at the end, but she set up a lovely shot there, and the shot over the crossbar doesn't trouble the keeper at all.
Good push here from Orlando Pride, pushing up this right side. Timrak will pull it back. Finds support. It's just a bit off. It's Ali tracking back. She's back on the field and doing the work defensively. Van Egmond with Gurma. Real. Back for Sheridan.
Good pressure from Orlando Pride. They're working really hard up front. Look at this, closing down, trying to get turnover ball, just making life miserable for the San Diego defenders. Now at last they get a bit of space to play in through Gurma.
Good composure from Van Egmond. Doherty Howard on her back. Now it's McNabb pushing forward again. Turnbow behind Morgan, and frustration starting to build, it seems like, for San Diego Wave, with the final pass just a bit off.
Yeah, Morgan had made the run. She wanted the ball behind the back four, and Turnbow, obviously under pressure, didn't have her head up.
We've heard from Louis Hunt, assistant coach with San Diego, about that partnership. Turnbow and Morgan have a great understanding. Been regular starters. Turnbow playing next to Morgan in the front three. Free kick now to Orlando. That's Korniak called for the foul. 26 appearances with Orlando last season.
Such a dangerous player, Korniak, as she makes late runs into the box. If you can get crosses in for her, wonderful header of the ball. Set pieces is one thing, but when she makes late runs, it's very hard to pick up that run and mark her. As yet, though, she seems to have spent most of her time just grinding away in midfield.
Good crowd on hand at Torero Stadium. We're going to pack the snap. That's the marketing campaign in September. The first ever game at Snapdragon Stadium against Angel City, trying to beat Angel City's record as they had a great debut opening crowd. Of course, the record set by Portland Thorns over the years as well. But for the moment, it's the form on the field for San Diego Wave FC. 3 wins and 3 draws in their first 6 home games. A home defeat last weekend, and now another deficit in the first half after the penalty in the 23rd minute from Maggie Doherty Howard.
Yeah, they just lost a little bit of momentum in the season, San Diego. If you look at their last 4 matches, as you mentioned, lost to Kansas City.
Here's Ollie at the end line. She gets there, but it's right to Erin McLeod.
Stop in there for a moment with Amira Ali getting into the box. They're so well, but just can't pull the ball back to anyone. But they lost the last match against Kansas City. They did win the previous one away at Chicago. They were held at home by Racing Louisville, and they lost at Angel City. So 1 win from the last 4. Just a little bit of concern for Casey Stoney that they're losing that early season sparkle, because they've been fantastic all season, San Diego Wave. And for a startup franchise, bear in mind, this is their first season, both them and Angel City. We saw how difficult that was for Kansas City and Racing Louisville last season. They struggled. Well, these 2 teams, Angel City and San Diego, have been fabulous, but Angel City now have fallen out of the playoffs, and San Diego just going through a bit of a rough spell.
Kristen McNabb from New Jersey, played at University of Virginia. It's her 15th appearance, 14th start. She's played all over the field for Casey Stoney this season. Morgan could not settle it. I'd say a frustrating first half for her. She hit the post, as you mentioned. She's been very active, but her side trailing 1-0.
For me, a player as good as Alex Morgan, you want her in the middle. You want others providing. Right now, she's out on the fringes, trying to get ball. You want her in the middle and say to the likes of Kelsey Turnbow, Amira Ali, get the ball in for one of the greatest players in the world. That's what you've got to try and do. And I really applaud her Alex Morgan coming back and chasing, but that's not where you need her. But of course, she's frustrated. She's not getting the service.
Westfall all the way back to Kaylin Sheridan. Nobody steps to Gurma. Good entry pass for McNabb. Long touch. And this is, for me, one of the challenges now for San Diego Wave. When it's 0-0, when they have the lead, they can play their brand of soccer, which is oftentimes a counter-attacking. Find Morgan, manage the game. They have a good defensive record. But it's different for them when they have to go to plan B, down a goal, and chase the game a bit.
Yeah, they seem to be doing okay. I mean, they've got most of the possession. They've created most of the chances first half. Unlucky with the penalty. It happens. You know, Real just leaving her arm dangling a little bit, but it's still an unlucky moment. Amira Ali's done well. Look at that pressure. So generally speaking, I think Casey Stoney's thinking, well, my team's played well, but they just have to be patient. I know it's at home and you want to please the crowd, but it will come. If they keep playing like this, you would think the chances are very good that they will get an equalizer.
Approaching first half stoppage time. Maggie Doherty-Howard, 23rd minute penalty goal. The difference in this one. Turnbow inside for Van Egmond. Here's Gurma, all sorts of space. Naomi Gurma clips into the box. Headed out by Presley. A minimum of 2 minutes will be added at the end of this first half. First half stoppage time. Megan Montefusco escapes the pressure. Timrak away from Korniak. Doyle earns a free kick.
Frustration for the home fans. It's been a dogged Orlando Pride performance. They really have just shut all the sparkle down of San Diego after those first 10 minutes. And they just need to be patient. And I'm sure Casey Stoney will say the same to them at halftime. Just keep doing what you're doing. Don't worry about the crowd. It will hopefully come good in the second half.
10 fouls committed now by San Diego Wave FC in this first half. Doherty-Howard in front of Abello. Abello wins it from Real. Maggie Doherty-Howard, the goal scorer in this first half. Central. Turnbow. Ali earns another free kick.
She's done well, Amira Ali. She's worked hard. She's got her body in the way. She's been one of the bright sparks in the first half. So just pace just gets her in front of the ball and then she gets tripped up. Casey Stoney appealing on the left as well. But you do sense that Casey Stoney's got a bench that she can bring on some fresh legs second half, and that's what she might need to do to find a way through this Orlando Pride defense.
Flicked on by Korniak, missed clearance, will go out for a corner kick. Morgan was close to it. Bit lucky there for Orlando.
It's amazing, it's just a big ball into the box, and that's the one that's caused the Pride the most problems in this first half. Just unable to keep the ball in play.
Montefusco had the first stab at it, then Felia's clearance went out for a corner kick. Here it is from San Diego. McLeod punches away with Korniak lurking. Van Egmond. Gurma. Turnbow. Good delivery. There's a little push against Ali. Halftime is blown. Shouts for a penalty from Amira Ali on that final entry ball.
There seems to be a push in the back of Amira Ali, but if the referee, Adelaide Monroy, doesn't see it, you can't give it, and it's very difficult for referees without VAR, so referee decides there's nothing in it, and so ends a disappointing first half for the hosts. Hit the post early on with that wonderful strike from Alex Morgan, had a one-on-one early on. Amira Ali through, didn't take their chances. Unlucky handball there from Kaylee Real, and they're 1-0 down, San Diego. Tough second half ahead for the home side.
Maggie Doherty Howard, her first goal of the season. It came from the penalty spot to beat Kaylin Sheridan. And Orlando Pride, unbeaten in 5, have a halftime lead at Torero Stadium in the first ever meeting between Orlando and San Diego. Halftime from San Diego, California. Orlando Pride 1, San Diego Wave FC nothing.
Let's be the team with fans who show up when we need them, because we showed up when they needed us.
Thank you.
It's the San Diego team that gets passed on from generation to generation. Now,
in San Diego, and it's a 1-0 lead for the visitors, Orlando Pride. As we look at the stats from this first half, largely dominated by San Diego, but Orlando Pride gets the goal, a penalty for Maggie Doherty Howard.
Yeah, I just thought the quality of what San Diego produced was better than Orlando Pride. When you think that there was a shot from Alex Morgan that thumped against the post, there was a one-on-one when Amira Ali got through, and what Orlando provided was shots that were very comfortable for Kaylin Sheridan. The only difference being that one of those crosses ends up hitting Katie Reel on the arm. They get a penalty and hence they're in the lead. But I do think that Casey Stoney, although she's reasonably happy with San Diego Wave's first half, she'll be pushing them now. She'll be wanting to get them to get a win, because if they lose this match today, San Diego, with tough games ahead, they start slipping down the table and their place in the playoffs isn't guaranteed. So a massive 45 minutes coming up for the home side.
The energy was there from San Diego, no doubt. 10 fouls committed. The energy brought by Amira Ali and Alex Morgan and company. But now they have to overcome a home deficit for the second time in as many weeks. Last week it was too big of a hill to climb. 2 goals down to Kansas City at halftime. Tonight it's a 1-goal deficit. And Matt Peterson with Gary Bailey, the former Manchester United and England goalkeeper. And Gary, what tactical changes, if any, do you expect from the home side, San Diego Wave FC?
I think there's a couple of options on the bench which we might see at some stage in the second half. And I can't see any changes, and I think it's a bit early to make the change now. But looking at the likes of Sophia Jakobsen and say that maybe she comes on to bring a different approach. Belle Breedy is also was replaced in this match. Those are options for the home side, but I still think Alex Morgan and Taylor Korniak and Amira Ali have enough to break down this Orlando Pride defense.
Orlando in white, San Diego in blue. Set for the beginning of the second half with our referee Adere Monroy. Here we go from Torero Stadium, a critical homestand for San Diego Wave FC. They lost to Kansas City. They trail Orlando Pride. One more home match next week against Houston. Critical points on the line. San Diego knows that Kansas City have won again. They beat North Carolina 4-3 tonight to go even with San Diego in the table. A 3-way tie for second behind the league-leading Portland Thorns. Here's Turnbow. She gets there at the end line. Her cross is cleared, but it already crossed the end line. Goal kick to Orlando.
I'm sure that's what Casey Stoney's asked the team to do, is what they did in the first half. First 10 minutes, they came flying out at Orlando Pride. She's going to want Turnbow, Morgan, Ali, all to be on the front foot early on. If they get back level with this crowd behind them, you fancy San Diego could go on, would be likely to go on and win the game.
Excellent back heel here. Puts in Timrak. That's Doyle. She's been active. She earned the penalty. Her low cross hit the outstretched hand. Kaylee Reel earning the penalty, but watch this, Gary.
Lovely back heel. Brilliant back heel. And not just that, but actually found the teammate as well, so there was accuracy to it.
Doyle doing excellent with the hold-up play. That pass a bit heavy for Timrak, but a confident player. She scored last week, 64th minute. She gets the start tonight in place of Darian Jenkins.
What's amazing about that goal she scored last week, she only came on in the 61st minute, scored in the 64th. I'm like, wow, make an impact, Julie Doyle. Absolutely fantastic. Wins a penalty tonight. There's that shove, which had the referee have seen it. I don't know if it's enough of a shove from Thelia. Certainly the ref sees that there's every chance the penalty is given. So on the one hand, a penalty for Orlando Pride. On the other hand, if you excuse the pun, on the hand they get away with a push.
Yeah, I think that's a very tough call. I think it could go either way. Maybe 5 referees give a penalty, 5 don't. But Ali has done everything with that start, drawing foul after foul in the first half. Here's Doyle, more good hold-up play against McNabb. And then she's called for the foul.
Little bit of who, me, referee? Have a look here. Fighting and battling, and it just shows that the competitive spirit of the players, the effort they put in, tackle on McNabb.
A return to Southern California for Doyle. She's from Laguna Niguel in Orange County. She played college soccer further north at Santa Clara. Now the first-year pro is back home, and that's... Here's the throw into Morgan, who's turning. It's a benefit of having 2 Southern California-based teams now in the NWSL, Angel City and San Diego. So many good professional players come from Southern California, so it adds to the spirit and the atmosphere. And no doubt they give a little bit extra in their homecoming games here in San Diego or up the road at Angel City.
Which is why it's great to see at least one of them in the playoffs, and Angel City just right on the cusp in 7th spot. You hope that, I think from a neutral point of view, they'd love to see both these expansion sides in the playoffs because they're exciting teams.
Monefusco heads away. Kristen McNabb. Johnson. Just too long on the ball, and it's won by Timrak. Timrak kept it in. Turnbow putting in the effort. Towards Morgan. Monefusco. Who's the foul against? Monefusco or Morgan? Sounds like
Morgan,
it's against
yeah.
Morgan. Could have gone either way, Gary.
Yeah, as soon as there was a whistle, I thought, has she blown for the penalty? But you could hear from the crowd that they weren't excited about the whistle. Alex Morgan had tried to get in front, see if she could win the penalty. A little bit of a smile from her. As I say, she's always such a threat and such a hard worker. Turnbow doing so well to get back here. And just sensing that there might be a change in the... There's a chance there. Foot coming up. Well, I tell you what, when you see it again, actually, Alex Morgan gets kicked. That's a second penalty appeal, which I didn't see the first time around, but second penalty appeal where they've been a little bit unlucky, San Diego Wave.
Yeah, I do not see a foul there from Alex Morgan. Here's Presley. She looked a little bit late coming out against Johnson, but Johnson went into a slide.
The point I was going to make was Katie Johnson hasn't impacted this match the way I thought she would have. Been very much on the fringes, and that's why I think, oh, there is a sub now. It's about to say I thought Sophia Jakobsen might make an appearance fairly soon for the home side. And in fact, it's on the other side of things that there is a change.
You can see Doyle giving the clap to the family and friends in attendance. Big smile from the Newport Beach native. Played at J. Sarah Catholic High School. High five there for Giles Barnes. And she's replaced by Darian Jenkins. So last week it was Jenkins starting against Angel City. Tonight it's Doyle. Jenkins off the bench. Another homecoming of sorts for Jenkins. She's from Utah, but she played college soccer up the road at UCLA.
Could be about managing minutes for Darian Jenkins as well. Throughout the season, managers and coaches just give players a bit of a rest here and there. Obviously, they know well because they're with these players every day. They know which players look a little bit tired, maybe struggling in training. Give them a rest, and they come back nice and sharp. And that's the management skills that are needed these days.
Gary, it feels to me like game management from Orlando. Forced throw-ins, draw fouls. Not too interested in adding a second goal, just manage this lead.
Yeah, they're a tough team to break down, and it's not like they've hammered San Diego to get the goal. They got a penalty, perhaps fortuitous. They've taken it. They've made it difficult for San Diego. They're probably looking to counter if they can, but they haven't created too many counter-attack opportunities. They're just well drilled.
Heck of a turn from Ali. Now picked up by Johnson. She centers, and it's clear. Beautiful delivery from Johnson, but Orlando had enough white shirts back there.
Yeah, but it's risky for Orlando. If you're just going to sit in the 1-0 lead and hope you can hold on to it, maybe you can. Just get the sense that San Diego are coming forward and creating chances, and maybe if Katie Johnson just lifts her head and picks up, she had about 4 different options in the box: near post, far post, one that held back, and she just whipped the ball in. Couldn't find anyone in the end of it. Have a look again. This is the moment. Let's have a look. Katie Johnson comes in there now. Head up. She's a quick glance. Head up. Well, she is looking. She just can't find it. She finds a white shirt, not a blue shirt.
Good nab closest there for San Diego Wave FC. It's Delia out of her right back position. Look at the Spaniard take the space. Waited in front of Jenkins.
Good job. He talked about the organizational skills that he wanted to bring to his team. The teamwork, the hard work, all those things have been on view today. It hasn't been the most beautiful football from Orlando Pride. But from a coaching point of view, you've got to say a very well-drilled side that Seb Hines has been able to create. Undefeated in 5 and heading for a 6th match undefeated.
Here comes Orlando Pride. Excellent ball off to the left is Jenkins. Shot is blocked. Westfall back to help. They're trying to turn. It's fallen to Korniak. McNabb to her left. Ali, well defended by Thelia. And spinning. It's a free kick given to Orlando in front of Casey Stoney.
Sure, I can see why they're complaining, Orlando Pride. They felt they had taken the ball off her fairly. Casey Stoney's got a different point of view. Let's have a look at it again. Mira Ali just holding the ball up, doing really well. Difficult to say, but referee sees it as a foul. Game continues.
Seb Hines, England Youth International, both in Middlesbrough. Played for Orlando City before an assistant to Orlando Pride 2020. Now the acting head coach. He has Jenkins here with good hold-up play. Pulls out Gerba. Maggie Doherty Howard in the pocket. Will face up. Wide to the left here. Doherty Howard in the box.
Shirts waiting for a cross in the middle there.
Swell blocks another cross. Here's Tim Rack. Listro. Thelia let it run. She keeps it in play. Thelia's cross. Here comes Sheridan bravely. It's a free kick given to San Diego. It was not an easy ball to claim. She came out there against a bellow, and Sheridan earns the free kick.
Feely at least getting the ball in eventually. And as she was catching at Sheridan, she gets hit by a bellow. It's deemed to be a foul, but it took a while for Orlando Pride to get a ball in the box. They had white shirts waiting and waiting and waiting for a cross. Eventually they do get the ball in.
Here comes Johnson pushing forward from midfield. Heavy touch from Presley. Korniak clips it into the path of Ali. Morgan changes her run. Amira Ali bending it to the back post. McNabb challenges Timrak. Alive in the box. Good defensive header, Montefusco. Korniak settles. Korniak smashing it to the back post. Presley's there. Picked up by McLeod.
Good pressure coming in from the home side. They're just unlucky that nothing fell for them. They want a little bit of luck. The ball just to drop to the feet of Alex Morgan. Turnbow there trying to claim a foul. Korniak gets in there. She whips it across. In the end, they're just white shirts everywhere. And good defending by Orlando Pride. Give them credit. They're very hard to break down, but you do feel that something's got to go San Diego's way eventually.
Korniak with Turnbow. Kept in play by McNabb. Maggie Doherty-Howard, 23rd minute penalty, the difference so far. First goal of the season for Maggie Doherty-Howard. There's Korniak. Nice touch from Ali again. She's inside. Ali helping it on to Morgan, but Presley clears. Similar, all this possession, Gary, but only 5 shots tonight for San Diego Wave FC.
Well, one of those shots hit a post. The other one was blocked by the goalkeeper on a one-on-one. So there've been good chances, some of them. A lot of other efforts around the fringes of the box. And again, you have to give Orlando Pride credit for the way they managed to defend, getting bodies everywhere. Or penalty, is it?
It's a free kick right on the edge of the box. Johnson was fouled, and you can see the referee very deliberate here, walking over to Listro. Adere Monroy had a good view of it. Montefusco pleading her case. Morgan saying it should have been a penalty.
I'd like to see it again. It certainly crossed my mind as the trip came in. Let's have a look. Ooh, it's borderline, isn't it?
It's correct. The foul was committed right on the edge of the box.
Well, if it's on the line, then it's part of the box. That's probably what the debate is. Let's have a look. If it's just outside, maybe the initial contact. I don't know. The contact looks like it's on the line. Have a look there. Wow, we're talking millimeters here as to whether that is on the line or not. And if it's on the line, it's a penalty.
Turnbow, Van Egmond, or Morgan. Quick chat between the three.
Sheridan chooses, Erin McLeod chooses a 3-player wall.
Looks like one's going to touch it for Morgan. Turnbow or Van Egmond, who will it be? We also have Westfall Central unmarked. Adere Monroy, a critical decision, penalty or not, has given a free kick instead. It will be Morgan on the left, off the post again. Korniak blocked. She hit the right post in the first half, the left post here in the second. Alex Morgan twice close to her 50th career NWSL goal.
It's a lovely strike from Alex Morgan. Brilliance once again. So unlucky. And it comes out as well, and they just can't get it in the back of the net there. And drops for Kristen McNabb, and she can't get a wrap her foot around it. Korniak has a shot. That gets blocked. It's just not happening for San Diego Wave tonight.
Change. Sophia Jakobsen will come on to replace Amira Ali. How would you rate Ali's performance tonight?
Very good. Especially first time. I thought she was fantastic. She's getting a high five from everyone for her effort, and now some fresh legs and perhaps a fresh approach from Sophia Jakobsen, and that might find a way through this dogged defense of Orlando Pride.
Here comes the corner kick from San Diego Wave FC. McLeod stays home. It's headed wide by Korniak. Well, McLeod did make a save on McNabb. It wasn't the cleanest contact, but it did hit Erin McLeod before falling to a teammate. And Jakobsen now, after disappointment with Sweden at the Euros, came back, played 45 minutes, subbed off at halftime. Now she gets a chance to have a better impression on Casey Stoney in San Diego Wave FC.
The best way to make an impression on Casey Stoney is to score a goal. So that's what her aim will be. Because right now the San Diego Wave manager would give almost anything to get an equalizer here and get the crowd pumped up for the last few minutes.
What a strike from Morgan, so close. That left foot she has hit the post twice tonight from distance. One of the run of play, that from a free kick. Maggie Doherty-Howard off to Erica Timrak. Here comes Thelly on the overlap. Corner kick here to Orlando. The shot from Timrak was blocked by McNabb.
Tries to get some white jerseys into that box and see if they can get a second goal. They haven't offered too much in attack. Kevin Sheridan with a very quiet match. Other than the penalty, I really think she's had to face a lot, whereas Erin McLeod on the other side has been a busy goalkeeper.
Timrak. Nabella. Here's the delivery. Too long. Keep throwing down for San Diego Wave FC.
It's a wasted opportunity. Bring all those players forward. Everyone's in the box. It's a chance to get something there, put some pressure on Kaylin Sheridan. The ball goes over everyone's head.
For Orlando now, Michaela Clough will come on. She was more of a starter in the early going under Amanda Cromwell, but under Seb Hine, she has not been able to break through this triumvirate, which has been excellent. 6 straight starts for the trio of Doherty, Howard, Listro, and Villa Corted. Here is the penalty goal from Doherty Howard. That's the difference in this game.
Yeah, it's a good finish. It's a well-taken penalty. It's made though, not by her, but finished by her. And I think that's the important thing under massive, massive pressure, given that the previous 3 penalties have been saved by the San Diego goalkeepers. Incredible stat, that.
Michaela Clough, number 14 picked by Orlando in 2021. She returned to BYU for her 2021 senior season and signed the pro contract with Orlando. Clough comes on for Doherty Howard. Second change made tonight by Seb Hines. Timrak, Clough. Velia, Timrak. Darian Jenkins. Gunny Jonsdottir has replaced Kylie Strom as well. Jonsdottir more of a midfielder, Strom more of a defender. We'll see how that shape changes, if at all, for Orlando Pride. Here's Turnbow, crossing, back post, Korniak could not steer it on target. She was past the post. It would have taken a tough angle from Korniak, but unable to challenge Erin McLeod.
As soon as that ball comes in, I'm thinking, Korniak, go with a header, diving header. You've got it. You're on your own. The back post, you're unmarked. Lovely bit of skill. And cross here from Kelsey Turnbow. Could she have thrown her head at that? Maybe not. It's more difficult with the foot because you're stretching and you've got to get over the ball. Another good chance from San Diego that they haven't taken.
That was a beautiful bit of skill there from Turnbow to self-pass around the defender. And a quality ball. As the crowd urges on the home side, San Diego Wave FC.
Well, the expected goals for San Diego is 1.2, so that they should have scored at least 1 by now. So they've just been unlucky. 2 posts, 2 fantastic strikes from Alex Morgan. And a couple of other really good chances. One, Amira Ali in the first 10 minutes, one-on-one with Erin McLeod. So From an expected goals point of view, it's 1 for Orlando Pride, and they have 1, and 1.2 for the home side, and they have 0.
There's Morgan's header right at McLeod. And you see Morgan giving instructions to some teammates on movements. 3 off the bench so far for Seb Hines. Jenkins, Jonsdottir, and Clough replacing Doyle, Strom, and Doherty Howard. Good run into the channel. Maybe on here for Orlando Pride. Clough leaves it for Timrak. Timrak central. Listro. Back to Jenkins in the channel. Jenkins will work here against Westfall. Jenkins ran out of room, but it's re-won by Orlando. Listro. Good win from Van Egmond. Free kick given. Old jersey tug against Van Egmond as she tried to break out.
Good thing for Orlando Pride is they're still creating the odd little bit of pressure on the other end. There's always the possibility of that second goal. By the way, there's 17 goals they've scored this season. Orlando has come from 10 different players. Doherty Howard hadn't scored. That was her first goal. What a spread amongst the team. 17 goals, 10 different goal scorers. Whereas for San Diego Wave, Alex Morgan has 11 all on her own. There isn't the same spread, of course, because San Diego Wave can work through Morgan, and again, 2 great shots, 2 posts from Alex Morgan.
Excellent. Clough finds Timrak. Timrak with a deflected shot, and out comes Sheridan. Nobody stepped to Erica Timrak. It reminded me of last week when nobody stepped to Haley Mace, and she was able to score. A lot of room there for Timrak to get to the edge of the box. You mentioned all the goal scorers. It's a bit of a rebuild. Amanda Cromwell came in from UCLA. Another rebuild of sorts for Orlando Pride. Seb Hines takes over, but so many new players here in 2022. And the stability of the last 6 weeks or so has led to this unbeaten run of 5 straight games.
They've also lost a lot of players, Orlando Pride. I mean, we're just looking at in this match alone, 4 of them with San Diego. And throughout this year, they've been losing good players one after the other.
Mackenzie Doniak will enter for San Diego Wave FC, replacing Katie Johnson. How would you rate Johnson's performance through 69 minutes?
Not been that impressed. I expected more from her. She's such a good player. And I was saying earlier, I thought she was going to come off for Sophia Jakobsen, because I would like to have seen Amira Ali stay on. But I think she's capable of more. Maybe she's just working her way back into the team, the Mexican star, away on international duty. You never know what that takes out of a player.
We saw Ordonez for North Carolina tonight. After her return from Mexico, she scored 5 times. Set a new NWSL rookie record tonight. Here's the cross. Korniak's header is saved by McLeod. It was right there for Korniak. They could not get a lot on it. Kind of a flat-footed header from the San Diego midfielder.
Yeah, the ball's got a lot of time on it, gets up, but I expect more from Korniak as well from that position. You can see by the slump of the shoulders afterwards that she realizes that's a better chance. But she didn't get a run at it. She was static when it came to her. So, again, another opportunity. At this point now, Casey Stoney's beginning to think, are we ever going to score against Orlando Pride?
Well, you mentioned the 2 posts. You also had Ali 30 seconds in when it was saved by McLeod. Now that's a nice turn of pace. Darian Jenkins, edge of the box. Touched by Germa. Here comes Sheridan. Another chance against the run of play from Orlando.
It's always a danger for San Diego. As they throw more bodies forward, they can get caught on the counter. And fair dues to Orlando Pride. They're not sitting back holding on to this lead. They're trying to get a second goal. It's massive credit to Seb Hines' team.
Turnbow, good vision to pick out Van Egmond. Kristen Westfall for San Diego. Corner kick 1. Jakobsen on that right side earns a corner.
That's what you want. Jakobsen threatening, getting set pieces. Something has to go San Diego's way eventually. You get enough balls into the box, enough crosses. Just the law of averages, something has to fall to one of your players. Can't keep hitting the post, as Alex Morgan has done twice. Can't keep getting opportunities without something eventually going in, surely.
Kelsey Turnbow to deliver this corner kick. Here it is. Korniak came closest. It went off a Orlando defender, I think Clough, and it's out for another corner kick for San Diego.
It's very difficult to mark Korniak. Great target player to aim for. Climbs high, climbs above most other players. Even centre backs find her a handful, which is why she's such an important part of the USA team these days.
This is the 5th corner kick tonight for San Diego. Driven towards the spot, it's headed wide. Again, Korniak gets on the end of it. Korniak, a big part of Orlando last season, 26 appearances, 3 goals. Casey Stoney organizing her team.
Here's this corner coming in again. She gets the header just wide of target. If she heads it down, there's enough blue shirts that might have got on the end of it, but she's tried to sort of angle it in towards the top corner. And you do just feel that if it's not going to be San Diego's day, then this is the way it is, because they have tried everything. It's free kicks, crosses, shots, one-on-ones, and they just cannot get through this Orlando Pride defense.
Give credit to Michaela Clough. She rose with Korniak. She didn't win the header, but she made it difficult enough on Korniak so she could not steer it on target.
The referee's going to have to give that ball back to Orlando Pride. Just thinking of other players they've lost, of course, Sydney Leroux leaving recently from Orlando Pride. I mean, another top-class player, and they just seem to be able to keep going. If you lose Alex Morgan and Korniak, for example, those are 2 USA women's national team regular players.
Here comes Leah Pruitt. Played college soccer at University of Southern California. First year with Orlando, traded from OL Reign during the draft last year. 2 years with OL Reign, before that North Carolina Courage. She's from Rancho Cucamonga in the Inland Empire of Southern California, about an hour east of Los Angeles. So another Southern California homecoming for an Orlando player in Leah Pruitt. Viviana Villacorta makes way, another Southern California native. She's from Torrance, so she goes 74 minutes in her homecoming. Here's Morgan picking up that loose ball from Presley. Little nutmeg there from Morgan. Has Doniak to her left. Good recovery. Orlando flying back to deny Morgan.
I thought there was a chance for Morgan to have played that ball through nice and early to Jakobsen on the right. She holds onto it too long and gets tackled. Things are going to get more and more desperate for San Diego, and they're going to have to throw bodies forward and take a few risks. Kaylin Sheridan probably getting bored, to be honest. She's trying to get involved because she's had hardly anything to do, the San Diego keeper.
Headed away by Presley. Montefusco out to midfield, picked up by Korniak. Korniak's ball is won by Montefusco. It's been a great return to the center back position for her suspension last week. Game management now for Orlando, trying to protect this lead.
No rush for Orlando there. They'll take their time now. 15 minutes left. Very close to coming away with a fabulous 3 points if they can do it. And that'll see them bounce right up the table. In the live table right now, they're sitting level with Angel City on 18 points, 3 points behind the last playoff spot, OL Reign on 21.
Free kick one, Van Egben over Eager. talking to here. Adelaide Monroy. Clough earns the foul. You had to be brave, Gary, against this San Diego midfield. Van Egmond, good size. Korniak as well. And Clough's been brave since coming on.
Korniak is a very hard competitor in the middle there, because every high ball she's going to be favored to win it. And she's going to compete with you. This Orlando Pride side, you just look, the last match they scored 2 against Angel City. They were away at Kansas, they scored 2 there. They got a draw at Washington. They beat Houston Dash 1-0. They drew Racing Louisville 2-2. They've been amazingly competitive. All that ever since they got beat 6-0 by Portland. That was the game that was a turning point. Sepp Hines took over, and the team have been unbeaten since that hammering by Portland. And they're coming very, very close to walking away with 3 valuable points here today.
Korniak. As we see Doniak down at midfield, there was a clash of heads at midfield.
Just looking at San Diego Wave, should this result stand and Sepp Hines' team take away the 3 points, San Diego will remain in 3rd spot, but having played a game more than Kansas City, who are will be level with them, and Chicago Red Stars would have 2 games in hand, only 2 points behind. So they could find themselves slip very, very quickly to the point where they're battling to hold on to a playoff spot. Let's have a look at that clash of heads. Long ball thrown in. Oh yes, the head goes back there, and it's very painful, that, for both players. Medical staff taking their time to make sure that, especially with head injuries, that everybody's 100% fine. Thelia hitting the bang, and I think it was Doniak on the other side.
Alex Morgan talking things over with Casey Stoney.
Casey Stoney saying, please don't aim for the post, aim for inside the goal. Just kidding. 2 fantastic strikes, though, from Alex Morgan.
Maybe now 3 at the back from San Diego. Too early for that?
No, absolutely. It's the last 10 minutes. You've got to take more and more risks. Doesn't matter whether you lose 1-0 or 2-0. Just being very careful with Thelia there.
Thelia played at University of Alabama. 2 years with OL Reign. Before that, Perth Glory and Lyon. Orlando had the lead in Kansas City 2 games ago, but CC Kaiser equalized 82nd minute. That's another of those results you mentioned that could have been a win, but a point in Kansas City is a good result these days.
Players back on, good to see. Always worried for a few moments when there's a clash of heads.
Doniak is back. Pruitt. Timrack, excellent from Orlando. Now it's Jenkins. Soft entry ball for Clough. Won by Doniak. And Feely earns a free kick.
Close return by a little tug on the jersey there. And that suits Orlando Pride, just to slow things down, work the clock a little bit. It's going to get more frenetic from San Diego. They're going to just have to knock that ball forward and just hope that they can get Korniak into the game with the long ball. They might even push her up a little bit, so they've got a target player to aim for.
Donny daughter, the Icelandic midfielder.
They just sneaked a substitution on their San Diego Wave. Marlene Schimmer coming on.
German played at Arizona State and Grand Canyon University. She's into the match. Here's the delivery. Pretty good one there from Jan's daughter. And a goal kick is given. Marlene Schimmer replaces Kelsey Turnbow. What'd you make of Turnbow's shift tonight?
Yeah, solid shift. Nothing spectacular from Turnbow, but I think you're looking for the spectacular from Alex Morgan. Her job is to be there to support Alex Morgan, which I think she did reasonably well.
And another good job by Orlando. They're just putting themselves in positions to get fouled. They're just challenging everything. That's a bouncing ball. Montefusco gets next to a San Diego player. Casey Stoney will challenge this, but that looks like a clear foul to me.
Yeah, they're very good, Orlando Pride, at just holding on to this lead. I'm not so sure. I'd like to see them fall behind and see how they respond, Orlando, because they're very good at getting ahead and making it difficult for teams. And to be fair, though, they were losing 2-1 to Angel City going into the final moments and forced that own goal of Paige Nielsen.
Is this a foul to you? Schimmer and Janstadter.
You can clearly see what Casey Stoney thinks of that.
Rough and tumble since entering for Gunny Janstadter. Yellow card is shown.
The crowd not happy with that decision from the referee.
There's been so many head-to-head clashes tonight, Gary.
Just shows you the commitment of the players. It's not, you know, it's not a case of not going to go and head the ball in case I get a knock. These players are putting it all on the line, and every single 50-50. Chasing back, here we are, 83rd minute, still hard graft from all the players, both sides.
Jenkins has been active since entering. That pass just a bit off the mark. Away from McNabb. Good first touch from Morgan. Montefusco commits the foul. That's not a bad spot for a foul for Montefusco to slow that potential attack.
Lots of hands there pushing and tugging at shirts. And referee was right there and could see it. Now I just wonder now, is it worth pushing Taylor Korniak right up and saying, let's get a high ball in there. Let's just cause some problems. Let's see what they choose to do.
Naomi Gurma will restart here. Right across the face of Pruitt. Now it's Van Egmon's delivery. McLeod comes out, it's headed and cleared. McLeod decided to come a little late there.
That was exactly the ball for Taylor Korniak. Lovely free kick taken wide and put in there. And if Korniak had managed to get a better header there, it could have been over the Erin McLeod's head. This is how they're going to have to play now as that clock ticks down. You can do it away with the niceties and just get the ball forward to Korniak.
85th minute, Matt Peterson with Gary Bailey, the former Manchester United and England goalkeeper. It's been a good one. Dominant from San Diego, especially the first half hour or so, but against the run of play, a penalty earned by Orlando. It was a low cross from Julia Doyle, and it was hit the hand of Kaylee Reel. Seb Hines is all smiles as Maggie Doherty-Howard went to the spot and converted in the 23rd minute.
Just looking at expected goals now, 2.12 for San Diego. So they should have scored twice, not once, twice by now. And 1.11 for Orlando, which is about right. They do have the one goal. So I guess you've got to say they've been a bit unlucky, San Diego. Twice smashed it against the post from their star striker, Alex Morgan. Just hasn't been their day so far. Still turning the last 5 minutes, though.
Jakobsen against Delia. Good touch from Jakobsen. Jakobsen's cross is headed out. Montefusco again in a good spot. Player down in midfield for Orlando Pride. Looks like Jordan Listro. She was trying to earn a foul. Stopped her body to take the contact. Seb Hines smiling.
You've mentioned Montefusco a few times as she defends really well, but got some stats for you. The most passes in the opposition half, Montefusco. The most the clearances for Orlando Pride, Montefusco. The most interceptions for Orlando Pride, you guessed it, Montefusco. Some player she is at the back there, really. 29 years of age, Megan Montefusco.
A veteran of the league, most recently with Houston before Orlando. That a foul on Korniak? Stepping on Listro as she comes through.
Didn't see much there. I think it's it might be a play just to slow the match down. She does seem to be hurt though. She's pointing to it, but your job if you're an Orlando Pride player right now is just to take the pace of it, quieten the crowd down. So either way, whether it's meant, whether it is an injury or not, either way it does the job that Orlando Pride want.
Naomi Girma, the #1 overall pick out of Stanford, plays for the U.S. national team. Here she is on the ball. To the top of the box and headed out. That's Jonsdottir. They've done excellent work in the air tonight, Gary. Every aerial battle, just enough from Orlando Pride defending this lead.
They've defended brilliantly all over. Goalkeepers made some important saves. And you're right, they've put bodies on the line. You cannot find fault with Orlando Pride. It's been a tough one for San Diego, but there's still a chance they can get something out of this.
Jakobsen, the self pass, shoulder to shoulder challenge. And a goal kick is given.
She felt there was more there. She felt she got brought down, Jakobsen, and it might be a penalty appeal. The crowd, you can hear what they feel about it. She sort of went down in stages, Jakobsen. She got bumped and then she took another couple of steps and then eventually she went down. Have a look at it again. She's being pulled and shoved. And as she goes in the box there, she gets bumped and then she goes down. The referee's like, I don't think there's enough there for a penalty. Tony Presley was a little bit worried for a moment, appealing to the referee, and you can see what Casey Stoney thinks about it.
You could go back and give a yellow card to Felia for that challenge when advantage was played. Another card-worthy challenge before the advantage was given. Nonetheless, Erin McLeod, 3 clean sheets on the season, 14 starts. Tonight would be number 4. The former Canada international. Knotted out. Orlando managing this one. Morgan crossing. McNabb! Not the cleanest of contact. Presley halfway cleared and fully cleared by Listro.
McNabb's got to make contact there. Beautiful ball in from Morgan.
Van Egmond driven delivery. Korniak heads it in the air. It's helped on. Hit the goal frame again. A third time off the frame from San Diego. That hit the very upper corner from McNabb.
It just refuses to go in. That's all you can say. Erin McLeod is happy about that, but the first time it comes in from McNabb, it's a great chance. This one as well. This one is a bit more difficult. In fact, it's a very good header to even get it close to being in the back of the net. Goes up and hits the crossbar, but the one before that at the near post, it's beautifully played in by Alex Morgan. You've got to make a better contact if you're McNabb. I thought that was the equalizer, but not to be.
Van Egmond. Leah Pruitt does well to win it back for Orlando. Now it's Tim Rack, good vision, Clough. It's on here if they want to go. 3v3 for Orlando. Clough running at Girma. Tries to get through Girma. Reel makes a good challenge. Is that the time to go for goal or to go to the corner, Gary?
Sure, I guess you want to try and slow it down and go to the corner, but I thought it might have been a foul there.
Yep.
I think Clough sort of dived at the end to make it even more spectacular, and the referee didn't buy it. But yeah, from this position, just go in the corner, slow the match down. You've got, what is it now, 4 minutes of added time?
A minimum of 4 minutes will be added at the end of the second half. Orlando, the first ever meeting with San Diego, in position for an upset win away from home. Korniak nods at central. Presley directs. I think Seb Hines gave a great game plan to his group. We have to challenge everything in the air. We cannot make it easy for Korniak and Van Egmond and company. And it's been a battle in midfields.
It has been, and yet they've still had chances, San Diego, and enough of them to have scored.
Cross from the right, Presley heads away.
I mean, those 2 shots of Alex Morgan that hit the post, that's really unlucky, but Korniak's had a whole bunch of headers. We just saw moments ago McNabb at the near post just whiff on a ball there completely. Amira Ali was through one-on-one.
Wayward cross that time, another goal kick coming for Orlando with 1 minute elapsed here in the second half of stoppage time.
And the problem for San Diego, as we've said already this evening, is that they're not guaranteed a place in the playoffs. I mean, this is a very, very tight playoff situation. Casey Stoney will know that. And if they drop points tonight and teams around them keep on winning, they're going to find themselves on the edge of the playoffs and scrapping to get in. And that from a situation where a couple of weeks ago they were sitting comfortably on top of the table.
Olafsson. With that Jan's daughter asking questions of Adere Monroy, the referee. Seemed like a yellow card was just shown. Probably to McLeod for time wasting.
Hard to see. We've only got this picture. I'm not quite sure what went on then, but you might be right. And eventually the kick is taken.
Free kick given to Orlando Pride.
I wasn't quite sure about that. I didn't see anything wrong with that at all. Nobody from Orlando Pride complained either, so they're very happy. They think, well, thank you very much. We'll take the free kick.
Direct from Presley. Second ball won by Clough. Doniak did well in retreat. Throw into San Diego Wave.
Well, they certainly have competed. You made the point about Orlando Pride competing with everything in the air and challenging Korniak. That they have done well, but you expect that from a team. What is different, I think, with Seb Hines is they've organized themselves. So when one person closed down Korniak, somebody just drops off to pick up a loose ball, and it's that level of organization that has made Orlando Pride so difficult to break down here this evening.
Good turn from Shimmer. She bounces off Montefusco. McLeod in full stretch makes the save. It was Shimmer going away from goal with some decent power on that strike.
A decent effort, but you expect Erin McLeod to save that. She had time to respond. You can see Shimmer's just falling as she takes it, just gets it on target. Goalkeeper does well, gathers it at the second attempt. Gets her hand behind, quickly gets up and grabs it, and looks like job's virtually done for Orlando Pride. And what a fantastic win this is away at San Diego. Brilliant.
Excellent from Timrak. She beats two, and then she finds Clough in the middle of the field. She works on Gurma. Michaela Clough has Jenkins to her right. This time she manages the game a bit differently. Jenkins, the veteran, will take it to the corner against McNabb. Clough against Jakobsen. Thelia. Clough earns a free kick against Korniak.
Frustration for the crowd, but good play from Orlando Pride again. I think Seb Hines is going to be so impressed with his team and so happy by their performance here tonight. For Casey Stoney, nothing but frustration following the last game, that loss at home to Kansas City, followed by another loss. And before that, it was a draw at home. So the last three home matches have been 2 losses and a draw. Not what they would have wanted at home.
One more at home next week to Houston Dash before 3 of the last 5 away from home. And they can argue that was a foul on Korniak. Clough is there. She puts her body between herself and the ball, and Korniak comes in too hard. Maybe one final chance here for San Diego. And it's full time. And look at the reaction from Orlando Pride. First ever visit to Torero Stadium. And Seb Hines and his staff will leave with 3 points. Orlando Pride gets a penalty goal in the first 23 minutes for Maggie Doherty Howard. And this one ends 1-0 to Orlando.
And you can just tell by the reaction of the Orlando Pride players what it means to them. They are super pumped, super happy. They're coming together as a squad. They're fighting for it, and they know how hard this was. They know how difficult it was. They didn't have a whole bunch of chances themselves. They took the penalty, and they've just defended superbly. Put bodies on the line. McLeod, top class in goals. Fantastic all round by Orlando Pride. Brilliant, and they can leave with the 3 points and a lot of pride. That's exactly what they can do. They can take massive pride from this match. Don't know if there's been a problem. They were all looking around as if there's been some people coming out on the pitch. But in the end, well done Orlando Pride. Tough day at the office for San Diego Wave.
Gary Bailey, your final thoughts on this one, a 1-0 away win for Orlando Pride.
Brilliant. Gives them a chance of making the playoffs now. Only 3 points off San Diego Wave. They've got a lot of work to do to make sure they're in the playoffs. They're still in a good position, but they've become a little bit more vulnerable now. But just look at the hugs, and they know that this was a very, very special performance, Orlando Pride, and professional pride. And I can't use any other word for Orlando Pride except pride. Professional pride of the performance. And you can see, look at the smiles and the hugs. They've been doing this since the match finished a couple of minutes ago.
A night of road wins at the NWSL. Earlier tonight, Cary, North Carolina. 4-3, Kansas City Current wins at North Carolina. And tonight, it's Orlando Pride handling San Diego Wave and handing the Wave its second successive home defeat after San Diego was unbeaten through 6 at home. That will do it from Torero Stadium. For Gary Bailey and our entire crew, Matt Peterson saying so long. A 23rd minute penalty goal from Maggie Doherty Howard and full time from San Diego. It's Orlando Pride 1, San Diego Wave FC 0.